Hello everyone, and how are you? I grabbed what I thought was a brand new package of blending tools, and alas, it was not. That one's sealed. I don't know what color it was, but it was not new. So, we're going to be playing today with the Swamp Buttercup, as you may have noticed from the title. And I pulled the masonry wall again. I know it's sold out. Sorry to do that to y'all, but I love it. I can't deny it. I love it. Love it. It has not left my desk. I love it so much. And another thing that has not left my desk has been the Swamp Buttercup. So it is coming out for a play today. I also got out the newest inks from Altenew, which include the Frosted Foliage. This was the Trailblazing release. Blue Mountains and Woodland Escape. I believe the Woodland Escape is in our amazing kit coming up for Saturday. Super exciting. All right, so we're going to have a play with this. I thought I would bring in sentiments from here, from the enamel flowers as well. Super cute set, and we may bring this out a time for a play. But I really wanted to have a play today. There is a stencil that goes with it, of course, and dies. If you ever wonder if something has dies or stencils or things that coordinate with it, that looks like a little heart. How cute is that? I love it when you can use things for other purposes. If you ever wonder, on the back of the packaging, it'll show you what's included when you have the trifold. It shows you on the back if there's something else included. All right, so I'm going to set those off to the side of Scotch because we're going to be working with those for the sentiment today. But these are the colors we're going to play with the Swamp Buttercup. And of course, Emery Casey was giving enough to share her fur yet again. I don't know how she still has fur. She is such a giver, such a giver. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and I'm just going to move these off to the side, hoping that the dear Dexter does not decide he's going to jump up and get these. And then the Swamp Buttercup is a beautiful 5-piece 6x6 layering stencil. So you layer the colors as you go. There is a die that you can get as well. And of course, Altenew has the layering guides for you, as well as a project you could create. The colors listed right here. And also pay attention to the orientation of your project, because this, a lot of times when I do florals or anything with a stem, I always think stem down. So if I had oriented this on my paper and then I came over to stencil, I'd have to turn my paper and maybe it's not big enough. So I always like to take a look and just kind of see where the orientation was planned. So the orientation was basically planned like this. It'll obviously die cut like this when it's down. So you can see it mimics. This layering guide is at 35%, okay? But over here on the images included, this is at 100%. So you can check your die layout, you can check your stencils if you have to. Don't forget about that really great resource. So let's get going. Move that to the side. And I feel funny saying I apologize for using the masonry stencil. But I do apologize because I know that it's been sold out. It came back, it sold out. It is a really fabulous embossing folder. So I can't really apologize for using it because it's gorgeous and it's wonderful. All right. So right now, I think we're going to do something here. It's good to do something, right? So what you could do, because this is 8.5 by 5.5. So it's 5.5 tall, 8.5 wide. So that's 2 card panels. What you can do, if you are so inclined, is you could kind of figure out where your die, where this would end up. So this kind of fluted flower here is going to end up in here. Okay, so if you want to plan out your cards, sometimes the die is helpful, even if you're not going to die cut. So I'm just going to line it up with my mat here because a 4 1/4 would stop right here. Okay, so I've got that lined up. So then I can use this, okay, to kind of see how far over I can get this. So I could go about here if I wanted to create 2 cards on one panel. Okay, then I can bring my stencil over, right? And you could tape both in place, remove your die, and stencil because you know you're not going to go over that edge. Hopefully that makes sense. I do things sometimes and they seem to make sense and then maybe they don't. So yes, but I believe this is okay. Let me move over to the chat. I forgot to hit that. Hello, hello. Hi, everyone. Hello, hello. Yes, it will be back again. Absolutely. It will always be back again. Oh, okay. So that's okay. Hello, hello. Hi, everybody. Hello. Okay. I just wanted to catch up on the chat. I forgot to move over. It's been a weird day. It's been a weird day. All right. It's been a weird week. It's only Tuesday. So it's exciting. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put my stencil here. And the reason I'm taping my stencil up there, I have a plan. Now, those are the most dangerous words in the world, said by me probably. I have a plan. My son would laugh. But, all right. So now we're going to just take our die and move it out. Okay? Because on these 2 cards, I do not plan on die cutting them. I plan on using them flat. And I just noticed I had a little piece left over from the last time I used the die. Make sure when you put your dies away that these little holes are all empty because when you go to die cut again, if there's a piece of paper in there, it's going to push down onto your project and possibly not cut out. Sometimes I've had that happen, not with my Altenew dies, but some other dies in the past. All right, and this sounds weird to say, I'm feeling blue today. I've got my blue sweater on. So let's go ahead and we're going to use the gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous Blue Mountains. I would like to be in the mountains right now. I think that would absolutely be divine to be in the mountains. So I've got the ever white brushes. So pretty. But they're going to get a little messy here. I am going to put a little piece down here. Okay, and then I'll get you in as close as I can. There we go. I just don't want to move the arrangement because it will come into play in a minute. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to start with water hyacinth. Okay, and then just lightly blend on whatever degree of color you want. And that may seem like an odd way to put it, but so you could use a level, you could substitute level, whatever level of color you want. So do you want it really super dark or do you want it light? That's the fun, I think, with all of these stencils is that it's your choice. Now here, I'm a little nervous because you all may have heard a rumor, and it's true. It's 100% true. I'm telling you now, it's true. I am heavy-handed. I am heavy-handed. I admit it. I admit it. It's me, and I'm heavy-handed. So if I want to add some color here, okay, without causing any trouble, I'm trying not to cause any problems here, I'm going to come in and I'm just going to block off certain portions of the stencil that I don't want to cover. Okay? And then just add color until you're comfortable with it. Until you look at it and you're like, oh yeah, that's the tone that I was looking for. And then again, I can flip this now if I want to. And I can just come in and I can bring in my color off of this edge. And I don't have to worry about putting dark color where maybe I don't want dark color. Okay, and this, the thing I love about ink blending is you can use the same supplies 1,000 times, but you can come up with such different looks. So I think ink blending, we've talked a bit out and about in different places that, you know, ink blending is great for beginners. I know we talked about it a lot in the Altenew Q&As for the retreat coming up in May. So if you want to watch those, you can kind of see what I was mentioning. But ink blending is wonderful for beginners because you put color on in these stencils, and the stencils and the color kind of do the work for you. So you just put a little effort in and you get this beautiful, beautiful result. And you're like, oh yes, crafting. I love crafting. Look at this beautiful thing I made. So yeah, I think we get more crafters with ink blending because beginner crafters, I think it gets you hooked quickly. All right. And then normally I would make sure I had a piece of cardstock under my panel so that I wasn't ink blending over onto my mat, but we're going to live dangerously. All right. So what we're going to do is now we're going to lift up this piece. We're going to do a puzzle. Okay. So we're going to lift up this piece a little. Then we're going to take this piece. Okay. And we're going to rotate this piece around. And Emery is coming to help because the blending tools are out. Oh, you can't see her on screen. You should have seen these guys. I got a box. Oh, now she's trying to eat the masking tape. I got a beautiful box from Altenew today. And yeah, it was filled with paper because I bought something big. So it had a lot of the packing paper in there. Oh my goodness. These two had so much fun. Not even with the crafty supplies yet. You all know that Emery is making this start because she is right here assisting as always. As you know, she loves to assist with crafty things. So it wasn't even with that. She hasn't had fun with the crafty stuff yet. Right now, she is just enjoying the box and the paper. Who knew that, you know, boxes were fun? And Dexy got in on the fun today. He also climbed in an envelope from my dear Saskia. So he had a good time. Now I'm going to start with Alpine Aster on this one. Okay. So this is a darker one. And again, maybe you want to get those spots that you want to be a little bit more careful out of the way. And this is a darker ink. So you got to keep that kind of in mind as well. Okay. I think Emery is bored with us. But also because these are brand new, I got to build up my color a little bit on there. Oh, beautiful. All right. So I've got that first one. And then we will go ahead. And you can even on this one, you can kind of see come in so that you get that dark area in this little area here. I'm saying area quite a few times, but ooh, little dark. Little dark in there. All right, we're committing to it. It's okay. It'll be all right. It's all good. It's all good. I didn't plan on doing it, but some of the best laid plans have made beautiful projects. All right, and then again, you can, you know, kind of mark it off a little bit. You don't want to get too many lines. You know, that's the thing. You don't want to get too many lines as you go. So I'm going to just be tough. And now that I've got that side down over there. But I do like to come in off my stencil when at all possible so I can get a little of the excess ink as I'm going to my desired location on the stencil. And I can always go back and pick it up. It's not like the ink is lost. It is not lost. Okay. And this is, you know, we're going to use a few of the yellow colors, a few of the greens. So it's kind of nice. This would be a great card set because you're kind of keeping that blue tonality and it's from the same family. So you're keeping that, but you're also changing it up just a bit. So if you gave this set to a friend or to a coworker, to a client, whoever it may be, it's not going to be the same card that you're giving them. You're using the same supplies, but they don't know. They don't know that you're doing that. They don't know that you're making the most of your crafty stash, because who does not want to make the most of the crafty stash? Okay. Right. And it's good Emery showed up, because that's why it's crafting with the Caseys, is because Emery loves to help. And once upon a time, my husband was going to be a very good sport, and he was going to come make the cards while I taught them. He had never made a card before, so he was being a very good sport to come do that with me. But maybe my son one day will come, and he usually works when I have my lives, but maybe someday that he has off, he can come assist, and he can try that. All right, so I'm going to leave this out because we are going to use it on that side. So now I'm all done with the stencil. Now I can lift it up. I'm all good. If we make another card, I'll have to wash it off or wipe it off, but that's okay. So you can leave this in place because, of course, we're going to start with stencil number two. Stencil number 2. All right, so I'm just going to line this up. This one lines up really, really beautifully. Especially, I love using the darker inks because the light inks are gorgeous, but the darker ones are so easy to line up. So if you have difficulty lining it up, but you want a really light color, try doing 2 cards at once, kind of like this, and you're able to this way. I have that darker color on this side, which is super easy to line up through the stencil. And then I can also go over to this other side. So we will be all set. All right, so on this side for this one, I'm going to use Crystal Violet. And I'm not worried about, I don't want this to get on my card. That's why I'm kind of trying to keep it off the card panel, because a lot of times I'll just pop it onto the card panel. All right, we're going to switch our blending tools. All right, and then we're going to go ahead. I'm going to add the color. And I'm not worried about using the third color because next time I can just go nice and light when I flip to the other side. So I can even skip over Alpine Aster if I wanted to. I don't have to use that color. Because you don't, the beautiful thing is Altenew has so many combos, and you can build them with 4 inks, you could build them with 6. There are lots of ways to add inks from other families into your projects, especially by using the amazing Frozen Delights, there we go, and the Jewel Tones. I'm thinking of Delectable Delights. I don't know why. It's on my brain lately. It's Delectable Delights. So you could go ahead and add some of the Frozen Delights and some of the Jewel Tones into your projects, and it's just going to extend the range of ink colors that you have. And I went a little heavy-handed, more so in some areas than in others, but again, it'll just add more depth and detail to your project, because if you look at flowers in real life, there's usually a little bit of tonality in there. So you don't have just a blocked through color of flat color. You know, there are areas on the florals that it's lighter, that it's darker. So keep that in mind. All right. So now we do our little trick. I'm going to lift this up. Okay. And this is kind of fun too, because you're doing 2 cards at once. So you kind of get a sneaker peeker of what's going on, which is kind of cool and exciting. And now, because we have something to line up, it's not as important that you keep your tape in line, because you want to make sure that it lines up when you put your stencil in. Okay, so it's not as important that we stick with that now, because we can line it up. Again, if you've used, like if I was using buttercream or vanilla cream or frosty pink, I would want to make sure, if I was doing this technique, I'd do my darker one first and make sure the alignment kept up right on the money. That would be really super simple to see. So just the lighter colors, it's easier, but look how gorgeous that is. And then we'll lift up and see this one. I'm not even going to touch the ink pad. okay? This is just what's on the stencil and on my blending tool. That's what I'm going to do with this. I'm not even going to open the ink pad. I don't have to, because look at all of this gorgeous ink that is just dying to be used and to be on the flower. Now, if I do get some weird ink ruching where I get what look like brush marks because I came in too heavy-handed or something, I can do some touch-ups. But you know what? I'm feeling pretty good. And hopefully I lined it up because that's way off there, but that's all right. Okay. Oh, look at that. Look how pretty. Look how pretty. And let's wipe up that ink because we know what's going to happen, right? We know. All right, there. Okay, so we're going to set this to the side because I think we're going to make the 2 cards. We may make a third, but we'll see. All right, so got this, right? So this time I'm going to start on the right-hand side first, right? So I'll put that down. Now we're moving on to stencil 3. Stencil 3, we want to be careful because there's that divided line, which means you look at this section alone, then you look at this section alone to build your project. And again, if you get confused at all, look at the layering guide. Okay, on this one as well, you can see the outline for the Swamp Buttercup, which makes it so easy peasy, lemon squeezy to get aligned to create your beautiful, beautiful project. And sometimes move it off so you can see, I can see obviously there's white. Okay, so sometimes if you move it off, if you're having a hard time, move it to where you know it's definitely off. And then it will be easier to kind of wiggle in so that you know when it's on the money. All right, put that there. Usually, and I say usually because I often forget to use tape and then I go, oh man. I recommend using 2 pieces of tape on your project because that way your stencil doesn't shift while you're in mid color. So what we're going to do is we're going to go with Indigo Skies on both of them, but on this one, we're going to go lighter. So I'm going to get some ink onto my blending tool, okay, and I'm going to put it up in the corners, and then I'm going to start blending. And I'm just going to pull in a little bit of that ink and start blending onto it. Okay, and then if you wonder if you're making a difference, if you're like, oh, it doesn't look like much, you can kind of look here and see the difference. You can also take a little sneak peek if you have to see if you're working on it. I don't know why I keep getting more ink on my blending tool. I have ink right here. It's just habit, I guess. Just habit. Okay, I will have to go back anyways, so my habit is okay. But just go light, okay, because the other flower, we can go darker. But this one, I want to keep it kind of light. And the great thing is that you can always add more. Always can come in with more. And we have a couple white spots here that are brand new blending. Okay, they haven't been blended before. So those can kind of help guide you too in your blending journey here. And sometimes if you go 1, 3, and 4 for your ink colors, sometimes you get a more dramatic effect. That's why I like to. I like to skip a color. So here's another spot that we've never blended. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and make sure that's got a good dollop of color on there. Come over from here. All right. And then we can check and see if we're happy. Oh, yay! I'm glad you're getting out your new inks. Yay, yay! They need love. They need all the love. All the inks need the love. Okay. See, now you can see in a couple spots it's really dark. Other ones it's not so much. So you can go back in. I do like the color, so I'm good. I'm going to stop there for this side. I like the color. So I'm going to be more dramatic on this side. So this is where we'll flip this one around. Okay. And then using the outline, we'll just come in and line this right up. Again, easy, easy. Okay, there we go. Okay, so I'll tape that into place. And this one, I'm really going to go in with my Indigo Skies. I'm being careful to try to not mix these up because I don't have labels on them at this point. Something I need to do at some point, maybe this summer when I have some free time built up. I will concentrate on getting all of my blending tools labeled. I've labeled quite a few of them, but not all of them. All right, there we go. I'm coming in here really heavy-handed. This is where it works for me to be heavy-handed because I am putting the ink right down on the paper. Okay. So there we go with this one. So look at the difference. We've used the same colors. We did start out lighter on this one, a little bit on the base layer, but still the other two colors, you can see we were lighter with them and just kind of the effect that gives you. So it's fun to play with how heavy you put the color on, what colors you put on. So we used all four colors just in different ways. This was 1, 3, and 4. And this was 2, 3, 4. I feel like I'm doing a dance. 2, 3, 4. Nobody wants to see me dance. Trust me. I have awkward dance moves. I got to get them better, though, because the wedding is coming up before we know it. Wedding will be here. All right. Not my wedding. Just before I get any questions later. Not my wedding. My son's wedding. Okay, there we go. Full disclosure. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and I love this one because this one reminds me of an asterisk, okay? And then this one you can line up perfectly with the opening right here. So let's see. Let me wiggle it up just so you can see. So this one has the little kind of bumps right here. That's what I'm going to line it up with, the light blue area of the bumps, okay? And then this asterisk guy, he reminds me of that medicine man, you know, where there's, is he Atlas? Is that his name? There's like, he's, you know, that's the man, and then there's other pieces. And then the center one falls right into place with that, okay? So let me go out. I was going to stay in so you guys can see it. Just send me mine, TV. Looks like a stick man. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. I don't know what the medicine guy's name is. You always see him like in the medical books or whatever. I can't remember his name. I thought it was, no, Atlas is holding up the world. I don't know. I don't know who's doing what. I know it's not me. I know that is not a self-portrait of me, and I'm proud of it. Okay, so off we go here. And we're going to go with the greens. And again, I'll probably change these up. So as opposed to on this one, I'm going to start with silver sage. Okay. This one, I'm going to go with jade. And maybe we'll use jade for both because remember, we can just go lighter with it. Just because it's a darker color doesn't mean it's a darker color. Okay. So, and I love having this super duper bright blue with these bright greens. And I may need to actually use on the darker one. I probably should have used a little bit darker, but that's okay. Eek. Come on, big fella. You know you want to. Okay, I'm good with that. I'm okay. I have nothing but love for it. Nothing but love. All right, let's move that. That's what Tuesday is all about, right? Nothing but love. All right, then we line up our, we'll call him a stick man. I like that. Line that up. The browns also would have looked fabulous in the center here, but I was feeling the greens, so I pulled the greens. All right, now, helps if you tape your stencil, but it also helps if you tape your paper, because if your paper moves and your stencil doesn't move, then it kind of defeats the purpose. You guys know where I'm going. All right, come on. All right. I can't arrange the paper under the stencil, so let's tape the paper. I was trying to arrange the paper underneath the stencil. It is much faster, and don't want to pull the crafty bristles out of my blending tools if I do the stencil, not the paper. All right, so again, I can go lighter over here. Okay, I'm just using what's on my tool, being careful, very careful, because I was very close to picking up some of that blue. That was what was left on my tool. Didn't even re-ink. So see, get a little bit of a different tone, same ink pad. We love to get a lot out of it. I know. I almost pulled Lagoony. I was channeling my inner Angel and Lydia today, but I was like, I always pull Lagoony. I got to get out of the Lagoony. So I got out of the Lagoony. All right. And now, see, this is why you use the die in the beginning. Because at this point, you're going, uh-oh, did I leave enough room? And so now you're okay. Because you know, yes, in fact, you did leave enough room. So you're like, I'm cool. I'm calm. I'm together. I'm good. Because you know. Okay? All right, so I'm going to go up to the eucalyptus because why not? I mean, it's eucalyptus. Come on. It's gorgeous. All right. So let's go up to the eucalyptus and add that in. And I'm going dark on this one. Okay, it's a light flower, but I'm going dark. Because I want to I have that lightness. Okay, but my leaves, I want it to show the darkness, the beautiful darkness in these leaves. Ooh, I'm coloring myself. We're getting 6 inches of snow here currently, apparently. And the kiddos, my grown kiddos, I don't have any little ones, thankfully. I'm too tired raising cats sometimes, so I don't know if I could do small kiddos. I don't know. My coworker has 9 and 13, I think, or 9 and 12, I think 9 and 13. And she's exhausted most of the time. And so I'm like, yeah, I'm good. Good. Okay. And again, if it's darker in other areas and you're like, oh, it doesn't match, you can go back. You can always add more color. It's just hard to take color away when it's not watercolor. It's harder to take it away when it's ink. So keep that in mind as you're going. All right. And then here it would be darker behind the flower. And that's the other thing. As you go through this, you can say, oh, look, this flower is leaning over it. The leaves would be darker here or XYZ. So you can pay attention to that when you're stenciling. I know it is hard. It's hard to pick a favorite out of the new greens. It is hard. Even the browns, which I'm not generally a brown. Like, I wouldn't generally pick browns, but those browns are stunning. Like, they are stunning. And apparently I have delectable delights on my brain, so I'm in a brown state of mind, apparently. My roses did just die, so maybe that's why. But they were yellow. They weren't even really brown. They just got, when they go, they swizzle all up. So that's where those were. All right, so this one, I'm going to go heavy again. Okay, or let's go light. We could go light. All right, the centers, I am going to go heavy, especially where it's over the blue. So those centers, I'm going to go heavy. All right, and these little, my grandmother would call them pitons. So here, I'm going to try to go light. See, I got all excited because I could go super heavy-handed, and then now my hand is like, light what? Light who? Okay. So here we go. Trying to go light. And you know what? I may not like it. I don't know. We can always go darker. So I'm going to try this quote-unquote light thing because I feel like it's super dark. I feel like I'm failing miserably. at the kind of light tone. But I have to remember too, this is the third color, so it's a darker color. So even though it's lighter of the darker color, it's still going to be darker because it is number 3. It is number 3. What happened to the stick man? There's stick man sparks. Oh, goodness. The poor stick fellow. What happened to him? Oh, no. All right, so let's take a sneaky peeky. Ooh. Okay, I like it. Like it, like it, like it. All right, so we're going to stick. We're going to stick with it. Being tough. Yeah, I think we'll get 2 cards made today. So I'm okay. I've been putting these stencils in a pile because we're already at 40 minutes. I swear I could craft with you guys for 48 hours straight. No, Saskia, no 48-hour retreat. I knew Saskia wouldn't miss when I said that. I said it just for you, my lovely. Okay, we do have another 24-hour one coming up. This time it's split a little differently. It'll be 12 hours one day and 12 hours another day, the next day. So gives the educators and participants time to snooze in between. All right, now we're coming back in. We're coming with the greens. We're coming hot. Forest fern. I always want to say forest green. I don't know why. Maybe that'll be a name someday of an ink. Forest green. All right. Oh, no. All right. Oh, gosh. Is this the right? Hopefully this is the right one. It looked a little lagoony to me. And I started panicking. I'm like, lagoon? It does look lagoony. Okay, so apparently we're getting our lagoony today. Getting our lagoony in. I didn't know we were getting our lagoony in, but it does look lagoony when you put it on here. Look at that. We're getting, so yes, Angel and Lydia, we've done lagoony today. They're not here today, but you know, that's okay. We will keep up the crafting while they are resting. Because I think it's late for both of those amazing crafters we love so much. All right, so, oh, we did go it. So now I feel better because I was feeling lagoony, but then I'm like, they're probably like, oh, does she own any other color pack than Seashore? Because I'd like to see it if she does. So, but I feel lagoony putting this on. So I feel not just goony, lagoony, just clarifying if somebody missed the la. I don't feel just goony. I feel lagoony. Yeah. And it's not just a fancier goony, like, you know, la chalet and la goony, you know. It's one word, lagoony. Woo, pizza pad there. Emery or Dexy will eat that later, I'm sure. Okay. Ho, 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 ho. Look at that. Woo-hoo. Or Sean used to say, woo-wee. That is gorgeous. Gorgeous. Oh my God. All right. Now, I am going to have to do some fancy schmancy cutting here, but I have a plan. I was a little close. I should have left a little bit more of a line, but that's okay. That's okay. As always, we're crafters. We make it work. Make it work. All right, so getting all lined up, and I've got my outlines on here, plus my shapes. And what I mean by that, when I say my outline and my shape, Altenew has been so wonderful to give us the outlines so we can line those up. But also look at your shapes and make sure your shapes are kind of aligned as well. Alrighty. Very purpley. Purpley? We went purpley? I don't know. Is that purple? Oh gosh. I don't know. I guess it's, you know, I think of more sugar plums or midnight violet or something. So I didn't feel purple. Oh, I didn't even tape it down. I put it there. Piece of tape is there. It's just not down. So that makes sense. All right, so now we're going to go super duper heavy with the forest fern because we love Lagoonie. And this is going to be Lagoonie's cousin. So Lagoonie's cousin is forest fern. We'll have an Altenew family tree of inks figured out, meaning who they're related to. So yeah, maybe they can be cousins. You know, the Blue Mountains can be cousins to some of the purples here. I don't know how that all shakes down, but this just reminds me of Lagoonie love here on the top of here. It's just Lagoonie happiness. All right, so now this is something you should never ever do in real life, but we have to choose between the two crafty children. We have to choose which one is going to make the sacrifice. Okay, and I used the wrong blending tool because my other one that was supposed to be eucalyptus is now forest fern. So, oops, I used 3 and only 2 are colored. Whoops. All right, and I can see some forest fern Lagoonie fella here on my mat. I got to keep this mat for my dirty technique mat. All right, so what we are going to do, we're going to do 2 things. I think we're going to die cut both. I don't know if I was planning on that. Keep the darks. Okay, that's the first Monsieur Goonie. I needed this today. I needed Monsieur Goonie. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to line up this guy. All right, and is this the guy we want to do this? Yeah, let's do that with this guy. Since we decided to keep the darker fella, Avril was the first one to post which one to keep, so that's the one I went with. All right, I'm trying to line it up so that everybody, because when it's a big die, sometimes, I don't know, do you get anxiety because you look at one section, like it's lined up, you look at the other, and you're like, oh, it's not over here. I get a little die cut anxiety. All right, so now, okay. Everybody hold your breath and plug your ears. I'm going to line this up on the bottom because the paper is going to scream. So just so you know, I'm going to align this on the bottom because my die is hanging out up there. Okay, and I'm giving it a quick old eyeball to make sure to get it as close as I can here. And I think that's about it. Pretty close. I was pretty good. All right, so let's see what we're left with. We are left with 3 3/4. Okay, so that means for me that I am going to take 1/4 off here. 3 3/4, 1/2 inch. Yep. And I'm going to take 1/4 off here. So I'm going to be down to 5 by 3 3/4. Okay. And I really kind of like this actually, because look at that. Looks like this flower was like the star of the show the whole time. Oh, Leslie, you can uncover your ears. Did I drink giggle water? No, I wish I had had some giggle water today. It's been a week. And it's Tuesday. It's been a week. It has been a hot week. Okay. It's been a serious week. I guess I'll say that. I haven't been able to have any giggle, love, crafty fun with my dear crafty friends this week. So that must be it. I just needed to come craft with you all. And now it'll be a good week. All right, so now we got to do some fancy schmancy wiggling because my desk is atrocious. So we can use the die cut machine. Nisa, hello! You came at just the right time, Nisa. The paper just screamed. You missed the paper screams. It's okay now. You came at a very good time. You didn't have to hear the paper being tortured. Oh no, we'll have to use the die cut machine again. So I just moved everything back, and silly gal that I am, we're going to use it again. All right, so there we go. Make sure you take all those little pieces out of your plates too, because I've had that go horribly wrong. All right, and then I think we are going to, we'll just get all the embossing done. 4 1/4, and it's already 5 1/2. And I'm going to show you an idea. I'm not going to do it today because my stencil, that's the word, my stencils are filthy. So I'm not going to do it today, but I do have an idea for you. So I want to share that with you. Dun, dun, dun. Now you guys are like, what's the idea? Always keep them wanting more. All right. Oh no! Yay! Oh, okay. Good. All right. So we're moving the computer again. Sorry if a cable comes into the screen, but oh, and I forgot one of the plates. Now I'm having too much fun that I'm forgetting things. All right, here we go. One more time. Play that beautiful music. Not. All right. It's like my mother, like the Keurig when it makes coffee. She's like, that is one of the worst noises I think I've ever heard. I'm like, I know, but it makes delicious coffee, so we got to go with it. All right. I know Saskia might not sleep again tonight because of this. All the paper screaming and waiting on edge and all of it. Maybe too traumatic. Okay. So this one we're going to set aside for a second. So the idea, because otherwise I'm going to forget it. All right. So we are going to be boring. Okay. And we are just going to mount this and create a note card. However, if you had a clean stencil, you could go through, and if you wanted to put it in here, you could stencil the rest of the image. So what do I mean by that? So this is actually upside down. We know that. We're not telling anybody that. But what you could do is go through, okay, and let me do this on the opposite side. So if I know, so you kind of have to, you probably would want to make a hinge for this piece, a 2-pronged hinge. So if I know that my card, so let's imagine it's different, but the idea will work. Okay, so if we're over here, we're about here. Okay, so we're about, let me see, that's right about there. Right about there. Okay, so this is about where we are. Okay. To add some interest, just take a journaling pen. Okay. And then just go around. Once you have this in place, you can move this and just hold it. So you can go around and kind of how you'd put an outline stamp in the back. Okay, and you can use a better fine tip. This just came to me while we were doing this. So this is kind of grab what you got and use what you got right next to your little hand here. So that's what I would do for those. That one I don't think will be much of it showing. No. All right. So that when you bring it back, when you bring your stencil back, it's almost like if you had an outline stamp. Okay. And then you were aligning it so that you have some interest behind your panel. Okay. So that's kind of another, let me see. So see how you would have that where it looks like it's a stamped image, but it's black and white. So you can do that with your stencil. That's all you have to do. Yeah, you could go around, you could do them dashes, you can do them straight lines, you can do, whatever works for you. Yes, this embossing folder, I was so good and so restrained on the last release. I was like, you can pick an embossing folder and you can pick a stamp set. And yeah, So I did so good. I was so proud of myself. And that was the one that I picked, was the masonry, because I love those, like the organic stones, and I like the bricks, and but this, whoever made this, genius, genius. I don't know who designed it. Absolutely perfectly genius and wonderful. It is my fave. All right, so I don't want to use this because that's not what we're working on today. So today we're just going to go. Now you can put, last week we played around a little bit with some colored cardstock and kind of moving that around a bit. I think there would be lots of colors that could be pretty. I think it would be pretty to have the gold, which again, I didn't plan on using, so I did not pull out, but I think I would use the gold over the silver, but I'm sure silver would be pretty too. But I love the brushed gold now. I can't get off the brushed cardstocks. But I think, if you had this on the back and you had that kind of off to the side, so we can do that. And you could even, actually, hold the phone. I did the Nancy technique. And when I did, I gutted the paper. I know it sounds bad. But imagine there's a piece down on the bottom. So you could kind of stick it so it was over, and then that way you don't have to use a whole piece. Or again, you can do the Nancy technique and stick it down in the corner. That's another thing. Today we're going super simple. And then this would be on the silver. So it would give that really lighter feel with that silver that you have. Okay. So move that over, not our card panel. We want the card panel. All right, and we're going to take off some foam tape. Now, let's say you are involved in a crafty group that meets every Saturday, and you have a challenge card, and you're supposed to do some partial die cutting. This could have been a good technique, and it could have actually satisfied all of the challenges, all of the challenge requirements, which was fun because it was a crafty roulette of just pointing at people on Zoom. Because what you could have done, okay, is you could have partial die cut this. And there are some spaces in there when you partial die cut that would cut open. So you could have put shaker bits behind it, partial die cut it, and you would have been good to go. So let's say that you belong to a crafty group that does those. That would just be an idea that maybe, you could revolutionize and turn into a beautiful project to share on, I don't know, say March 11th. And yes, I also, because it's been a week already, I forgot that we do have a second class on March 11th, so I will get the notification out for that. All right. Ooh, floors are cold. Floors are cold. That is the floor. Yes, it's not water. I get paranoid now. A little paranoid. All right. So now, if I was smart, I would have stamped my sentiments before putting the foam tape on the back, because I don't have an even surface now to stamp on. So I will likely use a die cut sentiment on my panel. And for this panel, my whole vision, when I started this card, I do want it to be a 1-layer card. So I may put this in my amazing stamp wheel and, figure it out. But so we're going to go ahead, and this is about in the center, I think. Okay. So just plain against the white, really simple card. Again, yes, and heat emboss it, Leslie. That's correct. Because heat embossing, you could throw a little alcohol ink background or word on there, and you're good to go. But I like that white peeking out around the side when you have that beautiful, rich, gorgeous image in the middle. So yeah, I would definitely put it in my stamp wheel before attempting to do I would not hand stamp a sentiment on that. I would not feel confident enough in that. Now, the difficult decision now is that both sides of Masonry Wall are just absolutely gorgeous. So you have the embossed and then you have the debossed. So they're both gorgeous. I'm going to go, I think, with this one today. And this will be another one that um, um, so we're just going to get this into position. Now, again, if you give this card to somebody and they have the package in front of them, and I was to give them this card or the way I have this card laying out, they'd be like, that's upside down. The good news is we don't give people the products while we give them the card generally. So I'm going to go with it upside down because you know what? I like it. I like it that way. So I'm going to go ahead and it's my project. And that's the wonderful thing, I think, is that, you know, while we all share this passion, we all have different ideas about what we foresee happening with these projects as they go. And then we get to see all the inspiration. Don't know why I'm singing, but I am. All right, so this is the, well, I know for some people it's like, oh, this is the tedious part. Is it wrong if I say this is one of my favorite parts? This is one of my favorite parts. I zone right out. I have a fun play with a foam tape. And I like Tetris. So I like seeing what I can fit into certain places. Or do I have to trim it? Can I get away without trimming it? So I know. You guys are probably like, wow. Her life must be just a thrill a minute. She loves, loves, loves to do a foam tape. I can't imagine how much fun she has. But to me, this is just very calming and soothing. So some days you need a calming, soothing kind of task. And again, like now I'm looking like, ooh, where can I fit this piece? Okay, how big's the next piece? And I know. My life's a thrill a minute. The only downside is that you guys have to wait while I peel off all the papers. But, you know, that's all right. There is a price for beautiful cards, and that, at this very moment, is that price. Okay, so I'll stop there. If I were home alone, honestly, I'd keep going, but I will stop so that you guys do not have to watch any more of the taping, as we'll call it. I find something very soothing about putting foam tape on the back of projects, as you guys may have noticed throughout my videos and projects. Yeah, 3 layers of die cuts will work. It just, to me, this is lighter. So I don't want my card panel on the front to be super duper heavy. That's why I don't usually do multiple layers of die cuts. I would rather do foam tape. I would rather spend 2 hours cutting little pieces of foam tape. A, because it's soothing and calming and makes me happy. And B, because I have a lighter card overall. So it's a 2-pronged effect, really. It's a twofer. It's a twofer. And who doesn't want a twofer? And on stressful days, sometimes I just want to cut foam tape. All right, so you can go a couple different ways. You can go, down like this. And you could do, actually, you know what? I think I like that better. I like that better. And we're going to do a portrait card. But we got to make sure that this fella reaches over to his area and that those flowers meet to their area. Oh, I like that better. Don't you love it when you do something? And I've had it where I've accidentally dropped something on a panel with glue on the back. And I'm like, oh, guess that's where it's going. Then I look at it. I'm like, oh, I love that. Sometimes, maybe my husband is helping today. Maybe he sent me a message and it's like, no, it's crafting with the Caseys. I have to help you. Nobody has claimed nobody has claimed either card. In all honesty, nobody has claimed either card yet. I know, if you don't come to our Saturday classes and you're watching, we claim cards as they go through usually. So now it looks crooked to me. My arrangement looks crooked, but there we go. Okay, it's not crooked. I was like, is my card crooked? And then, depending on where the cards are going, because apparently the cards are going, Um, okay, so Leslie will get the darker card because she asked first, and then Tracy will get the lighter card. Okay. So yes, so I will put sentiments according to where they're going. Um, Depending, see, the great thing too about the masonry wall is that you have areas where you can sneak in a sentiment. So I might be able, just look real quick. I could fit in the love you. I could fit in, misuse a little tight, but I could fit that in there. And then over here, I would just put it in the stamp wheel and I would stamp repeatedly, softly, with the sentiment. Another thing you could do is you could turn this card, okay? And then you still, because of the placement, I don't like it in this orientation as much. This is not speaking to me. But if it's speaking to you, that's awesome. But you could put your sentiment down in this corner or down in this corner. Because remember, that foam tape is running in this direction. So if I was to go to stamp this right now, this is completely supported because that piece of foam tape is going right there. Yes, I will. And just to, oh, this one. So this is enamel flowers that I'm looking at sentiments from. Okay. And then let me see. Hold on. I buried the lead. Let me just put this piece of cardstock back in. I'll move the cardstock out of the way so that we can put that to the side, sort of, kind of, quickly, sort of, maybe not. There we go. Okay. And then the stencil that we used today is, I still have my mask from our majestic bouquet. Oh God, somebody wanted to see my desk and I'm like, really you don't. Really you don't. You guys just see 22 by 8 or by 16. That looks reasonably pretty. But yeah, so this is the stencil set that we used today. Beautiful in yellows. As you know, I love the yellows too, but I was super stoked to try this out with the newer inks coming out. But the sentiments are the enamel flowers. So that's an option. I do want to keep my card going this way, so I also could, as you know, I have my secret little bowl here of sentiments, which I dropped a good portion of them. Oh goodness, and they fell down in the bucket, so we won't be going to get those. So yeah, so I probably wouldn't do rainbow with the blue, but I don't hate it. It's got the kind of blue color on there. You know, I'm not hating the rainbow. I mean, who could hate a rainbow? But yeah, so I likely will use one of piece of emery fur. Whoever's getting this card gets some emery fur free. I likely would use one of these sentiments. And then the fun thing is, you know, if you're using one of the hot foil sentiments, you can kind of play around with placement. You can put it up there, kind of over the leaves. You can with the inks as well, because if you stamp in like obsidian or gold and you heat set it, you can do pretty much anything you want. But yeah, so you don't want to block, of course, you don't want to block these beautiful buds in here. But yeah, and then this one over here as well, you know, you can center it. You could kind of tuck a smaller one kind of over in the corner. This one I likely will put the sentiment right in there because it fit in there pretty good. Also we have these, this is just on spicy yogurt, so I wouldn't put it, but this tucks in beautifully in here as well. And this actually goes, ironically, I wish it was on white cardstock or that this was on spicy yogurt, because this actually works out pretty good. It's some blue tones and some purples, and so it goes pretty well with that card actually. And it tucks in there nicely. You know, you also, I don't usually put my sentiments on the left, but you could. And again, these smaller sentiments give it a fancier, I think, because it's got that script. It's so fancy and beautiful. And then also, we have the sentiment strips. You can always go with those as well. Put them up here, down there. You could stamp them straight on your project. Or again, you can come over here and use a smaller one, tuck it there, tuck it there. But so yeah, so those are our 2 projects for the day. I'm so excited that we were able to fit in 2 cards. And then this one, Leslie, I don't know if I have your address, so probably email me your address. And Tracy, I have your address for that one. So I will get those out in the mail to you guys soon. Those are just a stamp, so those I mail quicker than I do other things. Thank you so much, my Saskia. Thank you so much. It's always I always call Saskia my Saskia. So it's just been that way for quite a bit actually. That I've always called her my Saskia. So I don't know how this my and Saskia came to be, but it did. So yes, so just send me an email, Leslie and Tracy. I will get this out to you in the mail. So thank you everyone for joining me today. So exciting to have you guys join me. As always, for some more crafty time because you just can't have enough. So looking forward to seeing you all that are attending this weekend at the Altenew retreat. That'll be so much fun. And then the week after, we will be back with our Saturday group for 2 classes. So very exciting for that too. It's not 12 hours, but it's still it's 2 classes, so it'll be very exciting. So we will see you all on the flip side next week. I believe I just had somebody send me the bicycle set. So I believe we are using the bicycle set next week. I want to use it with something else. I just have to be able to find the other set. I looked at the bicycle set and I saw a card immediately. So I'm kind of excited about it. So if I can find the 2, if not, we'll just play with the bicycle because the bicycle is absolutely fun all on its own. So, all right, my dear friends, I will see you all very, very soon. Until next time, stay safe and happy crafting.